Hey, this is Helen. I'm here to do um, the reaction review to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Last week we caught up with them in Vegas again, and Melody and Martell was emotionally tethered. Um, Tiffany was being her messy self per usual, and we came to find out a lot about Maurice and Kimmy and maintain what we know about Tisha and Marcel. So let me go ahead and start this show. They were going through the previews, and I'm a guess. I put 5 on it from the outset that Marcel was joking with Tisha about not going down this aisle, because it really don't make sense why you would remarry the woman you married to as you married to her. But we'll see. The all this, did I be threatening to drag folks now? That shit still funny. Okay, Kimmy. Now I understand that you are the logical Zen Phil Jackson one on the court. But you I wasn't really taken aback by maybe the sensibilities in Alabama is something different. But when Melody was like, careful, you get dragged through all 3 of them. And then she walked off. It's just a little warning. I don't understand the hyper sensitivity to that. I'm breathing. So I'm listening to Tiffany recap what happened. We didn't get the drag you through the parking lot bit. If that happened, it could have happened. It could have happened off camera. But she is explaining that she isn't even confrontational and had destiny and her was going back and forth. Um, yeah, I get. It's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but it seemed like they really are putting onus on the words. Like, girl, you brought up my history, and in those regions, and I ain't even a destiny person like that. I could take a leave destiny, but I do understand her position. It's like, girl, I meet you on the back foot in an inopportune, inappropriate time, and you're throwing my life in my face. Now I'm perpetually seeing you do this to people, not just once, but twice and thrice. And in those multiple times, the consistent element is you taking somebody else's life and trying to throw it back in their face. And it gives like and here's the thing, when you taking up for somebody else and it ain't your business or your situation, you at a disadvantage anyway. Cause I've been in that position ever since I can remember. Like seeing somebody, it would seem is in a weaker position or not addressing the, I guess, blows, and you think you have that's license for you to interject, and that ain't necessarily the case. You can't always just insert yourself even if you think you're right, because like El Boogie said, there's a difference between, and I'm paraphrasing, but there's a difference between right and righteousness. I pray to be right. I pray to be righteous, not right, or something like that. Here's my thing. I don't know if they left a lot of stuff on the cutting floor or off camera, but I feel like there's a part that we're missing. We're missing the dudes kicking it. We missing the women really kicking it. That bland ass, if that was at the end of the night, but they had done something prior to that, then I'm gonna need that footage, because the ending footage was really, I'm not pleased as a viewer. Now they trying to Mel and not Tiffany, Mel and Destiny having this conversation about what is Destiny's um issue with Tiffany, and she accounts for what these issues are. Melody says, as is you, what you are saying, you're projecting, girl. And Destiny goes, okay, but at least when I was held accountable, I had to stand on my own. But when people are trying to hold her accountable, here you come in caping for and deflecting a lot of energy that could be allowing basically grown women to resolve their misunderstanding amongst the deuce of them. So then they cut to Tiffany and her husband. They bore me even when they talking about the main idea. They bore me. But essentially, she's saying that, oh yeah, because Melody insinuated in her, not even insinuated, says flatly in her confession was that she thought Destiny was jealous of her new friend. And then Tiffany um, basically said the same thing to her husband. But I don't read that. That's not coming across to me. I'm getting at this woman through my information. If I'm Destiny, I'm thinking this woman threw my information in my face, in my at my birthday, and I don't even know her. You are thus far suspect, especially if you keep doing that same pattern of behavior, even if it's not with me, just in general. You are writing your scroll. And it's like I get to be weary of a person uh exhibiting behavior like that. I don't know. This feels staged because the conversation to me ain't hitting on shit. Because what Tiffany is saying to her husband in this bathroom is not amounting to what the issue is. I think reality shows in general do that. They allow you to deter from the main idea or the main point that's being posited by talking about it's these red herons and these ad hominems or these fairy tale hypotheticals that nobody was in on but the persons having the conversation themselves. And it gives it, and maybe it's because it's cut up and it is reality TV, so you can't get the full context because you weren't there the whole time. But it still gives, I'm missing something in their conversation. And he telling her, don't change who you are, because she said something to the effect of, I can't be my truest self around Destiny. What kind of grown woman, why can't you be your truest self? Like, what has she, is that your truest self? The way you've shown up thus far, per the editing and the presentation by the vehicle of reality TV, the question is that really you then? And if that is really you, why can't that show up all the time? Because it really offers nothing to be diminished. I said this in a previous video. I probably didn't post it. But she gives off what y'all be talking about is neck down dead. It's like, girl, you don't offer anything that's interesting enough to be like you have to diminish. Well, then you'll disappear if you diminishing yourself. If you wasn't diminishing yourself already, if being around Destiny means you have to diminish yourself more, girl, you're gonna be invisible. And not just that, it's like, why is Destiny have that much power to even put that out as that is the option? And him saying, I don't want you to change who you are because you're a good person, whoop de whoop and blow off the bench, all of that. But that ain't got shit to do with what is occurring. The problem is this woman keeps showing up with everyone else's business and throwing it in their face for no reason. To us, according to the edit, unprovoked. let's get back to it though. I think I was saying what Destiny is saying to Melody now. It's like, girl, you didn't let grown women talk it out. You keep caping for this woman and you interrupting the energy that would get to the solution. Because here you go with a cape unnecessarily. And if she a grown woman, she can stand on her own too, unless you know something we don't. Is she socially inept to handle that type of conversation? But yes, Destiny is saying it essentially to Melody, like, girl, we could have fleshed this out way ago. But what lingers is your ass is keep caping unnecessarily. You think you just said I am acting out of character. So you can't think that I'm gonna do anything extreme, because this right now to you is extreme. I'm saying as far as what Melody said to Destiny, as far as she's acting out of character and she really is caping for Destiny and whoop de whoop and bam, all that. But in saying that, if you know that's not how I behave normally, if you would have given me the space when I told you, back, we'll talk about it, or giving me the space to have those conversations when those conversations started, this could have been over with. It's petty. Melody is the alpha in Destiny in her relationship, and Melody makes it a point to flex that. So ultimately, the conversation was between Melody and Destiny. Ultimately, they got to this point where Melody was like, I see all the perspective, and I gotta give it to Melody. If I am genuinely this person friend, I could legit see why she would be playing it like that. However, the delivery portion of it, maybe it is delivery, or maybe I'm used to that type of energy. And maybe I shouldn't be used to that type of energy, but it ain't that deep. It's like, girl, you know who she is. And you know what a person is willing to risk. If that's who you say she was at. You get what I'm saying? Maybe y'all don't get what I'm saying. But, yeah, the conversation ultimately landed where they were saying something to the effect of, Destiny needs to check her delivery. So basically, the message is lost in the way it is being delivered. So yeah, it's the way you perceive it. Is the message more important than delivery, or is the delivery adding to the message? So all in how you see it. It's like what I said. Marcel and Tisha having this conversation, and brought up the conversation that he brought up on the basketball court, and they're going into it. And basically, she's saying, I'm not insecure, whoop de whoop, and we all know that's not the case. But like I said last video about last week's episode, it's not that insecurity might be rooted in some valuation of oneself, but it might be the insecurity of the uncertainty of your environment, be that the material security or the trust security, whatever that is. What Tisha is essentially saying when she brought up the counseling, Marceau goes, well, it exposed something to me. And she said, like, what, insecurity? And he's like, no, I don't think you're insecure, I think you have insecurities. And she said, who doesn't? Right? And this is what goes back to what I was saying on the last episode. It's like, yeah, everybody has insecurities, and if something outside of you is provoking those insecurities, be it lack of money, be it lack of health, be it lack of trust, it is not as if you can be unlike your being and divorce yourself from your reality. You would have to be delusional to divorce yourself from the reality that is informing you that these things is dwindling, something's awry. And then she goes and he says, I guess essentially asks, well, why are you insecure? Essentially. And Tish basically saying people keep forcing this marriage, their ideas of our marriage on us. And I find that to be interesting because they had a little small years they've been married, and Tisha and Marcel been married for a good long while. What have you? That's a conversation in and of itself. But what I got from that is, no, girl, you just scared. You scared because you in this limbo of, if I accept that I'm being inundated with everybody's perspective of my marriage, and I don't either wanna, on one hand, look dumb and this nigga really out here fucking around on me. Or on the other hand, this nigga ain't doing shit and I am being inundated with this information just to distract me from my purpose and my vision of what I already had before I had the peanut gallery involved in my relationship. So that's the insecurity and the fear she's dealing with. And I would look bad if I accept. That's why she's posing her statements like she's posing. Tisha ain't crazy. She ain't stupid. She just has an interesting accent that sounds foreign. So it makes some of the things she says sounds foreign. Albeit she does seem as if she's abdicated a lot of her autonomy to the whims of everybody's opinion, including Marceau. And not just opinions, but behavior. But I just wanted to get that off because that was on my mind real quick. They keep throwing up this 15 years. Like this 50 years must be a achievement for them. They really must feel accomplished in those 15 years. And I give it to you. To be dedicated to any idea for 15 years is an accomplishment, but the quality in which you keep up that idea or interrogate the idea or improve the idea also plays a part in the quality of the time that you spent on something. I could do 15 years in school and forever be a freshman, or I could do 15 years in school and be a PhD. Don't mean it ain't no growing pains, but there's a purpose. I don't hear their purpose, but the kids, we done it this long, and we better than everybody else because we done it this long. What Marceau is not accepting in this conversation is his responsibility to the outside noise. He is not stepping up. Ooh, I want to take a picture of that. Because, anyway, he looked just like Maurice right there. Anyway, the reason the outside noise is much more pressing on Tisha is the way he behaves. I don't know if he think he being funny or he legit feels this way or he legit is trying to prepare her for the worst by being such a prick, but by not taking the shot, by not, when they ask, are you happy in your current relationship, by not submitting, not even submitting, but not working with the counseling or this and that. These are all things that adds to the noise. It's one thing for the noise to be outside of us. It's another thing for the noise to be in my bed. You get what I'm saying? You are compounding the noise of insecurity by not invalidating what they're saying, or not even just invalidating what they're saying, not adding to it with your bad behavior. And that means the slick way you keep embarrassing her. See, Marceau is an asshole. And I see the good qualities in him. But he's just it's like Martin. They assholes in their own flavor of assholeness. Oh, did I say that Tiffany said in that conversation with her husband that Destiny was trying to get at her or was after her? Anyway, but yeah, Marcel was an asshole. Marcel, quit it. You can only do that to Tisha. Because, listen, because I would boomerang that logic right back to you. Because Tisha is saying how her family members and people coming to her with questions. And then he goes, is the married people calling out to you? Probably not, because they don't want that karma on their shit. But Then he goes, the people who calling out, would you ask financial advice to them or this advice from them? And she goes, no, no. And he's like, well, why would you take their advice when it has to do with any other with this subject, when you wouldn't take their advice for any other subject? And here's the boomerang, Marcel. Beware, this ain't about no advice. This is about mounting information that keep coming to me. And as your familiar, I don't have to be no philosopher. I ain't gotta be no mathematician nor no doctor to tell you, girl, the streets is talking. Now, is there a way you go about doing that? Probably. Is there, if you legit are concerned, there is an appropriate way to address it. But even if they address it in an appropriate way, Marcel would still feel away. So, no, Duke. So essentially, Marcel said, if you not me or walked in my shoes or done what I done, I consider the source, so I don't listen to you if none of those things are reconciled with the other. Teacher then goes, I'm getting there. Listen, is that a place you want to go? I understand divorcing yourself from other people's perception of you and your intention of your purpose and your being. I'm with that in the whole line and the whole nine. Gee, I'm for real with that. The problem is there's a difference between divorcing your perspective of yourself and your identity or your relationships from other people's perspective and opinion versus people giving you information that is data and not opinion. But go ahead with it. I will say this. Marcel looked like he loved his wife. He know his wife, but he love his wife. And when I say he know his wife, I mean he knows her weaknesses. Pardon me. That's why he able to snow her like he do. So from that part of the conversation, they was still Marcel and Teach was still talking. I got bored towards the end. I saw a lot of stuff. Marcel says, as head of how Tisha basically says, listen, I need you at home. I want to travel with you. I want the kids to basically have their father on these trips with them as well as their mother. I'm not a single mother. It sounds like she's saying it feel like I'm a single mother around there. And then Marcel go like, as head of household, he working with a plan. He got a timeline. I would have asked, girl, when is the timeline? Let me key in on it. That's the reason why I don't understand the hate for Tasha on Power, the original Power, because Ghost never offered up an alternative perspective. I met you with this vision. When you go to amend the business plan, you have to publish it. So you're not the only one in on the vision statement being changed, beloved. We all got to see the new vision. And if you don't let me in on it, then I'm walking in the dark and you completely got me at your hand, like at your belt loop. And I don't have a guide by which I can say, okay, he said this, am I willing to go with that? And if I am willing to go with that, if he doesn't meet that requirement, will I stay or will I go? Like, this is why you make definites apparent. Listen, I don't know. But anyway, Marceau then says, after the timeline, Tisha says we should do something fun, essentially saying we should go get recommitted ceremony. He was like, yeah, we could do that. He was like, yeah, privately. And she was like, privately? Why would you want to do it privately? He was like, because, I don't think it's right. You got people around here on their third marriage. It feels awkward. Awkward? Marcel, it feels like you giving her a line of bullshit and you ain't saying what it really is, because that don't make sense. Nobody's out there on their third marriage. There's only one person out there who just freshly got divorced. Well, two people out there who freshly got divorced. And there's only one person out there tripping. Which leads me to my other thought on the past situation with Destiny and Melody. And Melody saying that Destiny was acting out a character and whoop de whoop. And basically saying she wasn't acting with Kuth herself, right? But Melody, you up here creating drama for the whole collective, arguing with this nigga. We understand your feelings is on your nerve endings right now. We get it. But the same grace everybody is allowing you, giving you, extending to you for you to be so immature, and both you and Martell, you can extend that back to somebody. Pay it forward. What's the movie? Pay it forward. Anyway, but back to this. It said you on the third feels awkward. For some reason, it feels awkward for him to tell his wife, I love you and I'm going to spend the rest of my days with you again. It feels like he knows something. It always feel like that talking without saying nothing type Marcel. But anyway, so oh yeah, they were talking about how Marcel claimed he wanted to be surprised by something special sexually. Yeah, right, Marcel. Y'all was acting prudish than a motherfucker on this show. So it's like, do I believe you? Maybe. I don't know. But it didn't read. Anyway, so Tisha go to Tiffany to talk to her in her bathroom with her husband standing there. They're good, apparently, according to Tisha. Tiffany says she's transparency Tiffany. Okay, and then she says she should be allowed to be who she is. And I think she has a warped perception of what transparency is. Transparency isn't allowing your bad behavior to continue. No, let me get to that on another part. But transparency isn't taking other people's information and just throwing it out on the table. No, sweetheart, you do that with your own shit. That's transparency. Forgive the fire trucks in the background. I live near fire stations and things. But transparency isn't giving everybody else's business, particularly business that do not concern you, and you don't have an intimate relationship with these women enough to be bringing their issues to the table in front of everybody. And to Destiny's point about you did that in front of everybody when you checked out, and it's like Melody, but Tiffany did bring Kimmy. Kimmy is a different type of person. She's zen. Not everybody has that zen quality, right? So Kimmy is cool with, I probably said Tiffany before, but I meant Kimmy. Kimmy has that zen quality where you could probably pull that on her and it ain't gonna rattle or roll her. Whereas Destiny ain't got it. There are people who ain't got it like that. Not that she's done anything violent, but she has been confrontational, and confrontational is usually framed as a bad word, but it means to confront, willing to confront, and the actions and the habit of confronting, right, is when you are willing to face something head on. And a lot of us ain't willing to face something head up. Now, am I saying everything Destiny did and every approach she had was right? No, she wore my nerves thin on many occasions. But the problem is ultimately that we keep deflecting from is this woman who is a stranger to Destiny, Kimmy, etc. is bringing their life. It's almost, I watched this movie Respect about Aretha Franklin, and Aretha Franklin did a gig with Diana Washington was in the audience, and she thought, I guess she thought she was paying tribute, but I guess the lineage or the succession of R&B was attitudinal, cause cause Aretha Franklin goes to play the song, and Diana Washington flips the table up and goes, bitch, don't you dare play my song in front of my face. And that's essentially what Destiny is saying, don't play my life in front of my face. Who licensed you to do so? If you want to be transparent, tell me how y'all both look alike and shaped alike. I mean, give us the diet plan, girl. You know what I'm saying? What is the vision for this body shape y'all got? Is it y'all comfortable here? And this isn't body shaming, this is transparency, right? But anyway, so to go on, Tiffany goes, excuse the airplanes. I got the windows open, so y'all gonna hear a lot of stuff. But Tiffany goes, um, in her confessionals, I just hope that I can be transparent and myself, and they won't, shame me and try to change me, or something to that effect. And I'm like, change you? Is changing you? Are you taking being held accountable, changing you? Because you can be changed for the better when the social contract is one way amongst this tribe. And for your survival, people are allowing you in on the values and the norms of this organization or collective right here. Right? That is being held accountable. It's like, girl, what you doing ain't real familiar to me, and I'm really feeling uncomfortable with that. Is that changing you? And if so, should we all bear to stand and change? Because change is growth. If you aren't changing, guess what you are doing? You're not growing. But anyway, so I said telling her business. Tisha's telling the church's business down there to the Whitlows. To the Drop Your Business Low and call it Transparency Collective. But anyway, Tisha's down there. She's telling them her business. She's basically telling them she was gonna go through with the wedding, but Marceau said he don't want it, and it came across like, you look the fool. It looks like you could have kept that part to yourself. Like, you know what, girl? We're gonna scratch the commitment ceremony. I think we just gonna get to it, and all the explanation is unwarranted and unneeded. Anyway, but Tiffany and her husband, for the life of me, I cannot remember this man's name. All I can think of was her husband. But Tiffany and her husband basically are instigating for Tisha to go through with the ceremony. I don't know if this is being produced in such a way where somebody told them, get in Tisha's ear, and if she try to get out of trying to do the ceremony, encourage her to go. We know that Tisha is not willed enough in this present phase of her being to, not go along with it if that's what she want to do. But maybe she really want to do it. So we'll get back to it. Melody goes, see, I could be nice. So I'm going out of order, but I gotta say this while I'm saying, Melody is slick. She be laughing at shit and being petty about it, but she be trying to fake save it at the end when she realized the response ain't what she thought it was gonna be. So I get to it. Martell saying something. Why it's fresh on my mind? Cause Martell did just say something right there. But anyway, so we are. Where are we? So they getting in a vehicle to ride to the wedding chapel to surprise Marceau with this renewal vow, whatever. So Tisha pressed through and neglects her first man and go along and embarrass herself, and make a pity party for herself, or at least a desperation looking party. Look like it's coming up. But anyway, they get in a ride, and Marceau is in a confessional like, if you want to surprise me with something, surprise me with a threesome, something to that effect. The Melody telling everybody business and what happened the day before. It's like, damn, girl, you just spilling everybody tea, and especially the married people tea. That's not Girl, you knew what it was to be married. You wish that shit didn't throw in your face. Or maybe you don't. Anyway, but Melody go, it was after the something, it was the after part, you know that song, and she tried to get them to say it in unison. Some of them did say it, but it was cringy for me. Um, so people was popping their titties out because of wardrobe malfunction. That was Tiffany and Destiny. Destiny shirt popped off, and I guess Tiffany had side boob. I don't know. Then lap dances. Kimmy and Destiny got a lap dance. Destiny is forever obsessing about the Scott's clan. She thinks they want her. Maybe they do. Maybe they, again, the way it's edited, it be making me feel like they are being set up to look crazy. Because you cannot be this daft. But maybe it's something they saying to her behind the scene that we don't know. And they got together. It was like, girl, on camera, I don't know her. But anyway, Destiny is saying that the Scots is obsessed because, well, not obsessed, but drooling over her, whatever, lusting after her because of the lap dance or whatever. I think a producer kind of induced that into the thought. But anyway, Melody compliments Martell and says, "See, I can be nice." And then Destiny say Martell look like P Diddy Love. I ain't never called P Diddy P Diddy. I ain't never that. I think I just called him P Diddy for the first time right there when I said I ain't never called him that. I usually called him, the most I called him was Diddy. I rested on Diddy with myself, but kudos for y'all who keep up, cause it's but so many name changes I recognize. I'm not the government. Anyway, Marceau say he think to himself, what would recent Martell wear? Then he dials it back a bit. That was funny. Anyway, they get down to the wedding chapel, and Martell wants to marry Melody, essentially, because he get down to the confessional talking about some Melody. I thought she was surprised at me with this, because, you know, we just got divorced. But he legit looked like he was lighting up. And then it was not to be. Melody, motor mouth, male, tells everything, and then get to laughing, and then tries to save it by saying, "That's what's up." So basically, they get down there. Melody is down to the chapel. They get off the fan or whatever. Tisha is bringing her man. Melody is saying, "Listen, Tisha," she goes, "Tisha is surprising Marceau," or something like that, with a vow renewal. Or something. She get to laugh, and nobody was responding in unison with her. So it seemed like she tried to save it by going, "Oh, that's what's up right there." But that's what's up right there, you know, type thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel for Tisha. You don't have to have your face cracked this many times. Whatever he got planned, it better come off his back soon. Cause is it worth it? But anyway, Martell looked hurt genuinely when he realized it was for um, Marceau and Kimmy. I mean, not Kimmy, but Tisha. And then Kimmy says that the host could be another one to renew their vow. Because Marceau was like, a couple of y'all could renew your vows. I think it was Marceau. Then they get inside, and Tisha poses it. Instead of making it definitive, me and him are coming here to whoop the whoop the whoop, she kind of lets it linger and tries to throw off the responsibility of what that moment was to be by saying, anybody wants to be committed or recommitted to something, you have an option, this is for us, or something like that. And then nobody said anything. Marceau said absolutely nothing. And Destiny was like, it felt awkward, and I imagine so. But anyway, Tisha essentially goes, um, no, Marceau then goes something to the effect of, yeah, Marceau, we was wanting to offer this up to you all, to all of us. You can, it could be to anything you're having this renewal to. And I'm like, you just gonna captain commandeer this to make it seem like it's other than what it is. No, you left that B word hanging, and you wonder why she keep feeling insecure. I almost feel like you're doing it on purpose now, and it's cruel at this point. But let's continue. So let me do this while it's still in my mind. So they went to the chapel, offered it up to people. Tiffany and her husband redo their vows. They sitting there, they getting their vow renewal. Um, Martell throw a little shade. Well, Marceau was talking about 15 minutes versus 15 years. His marriage been 15 years. Theirs been 15 minutes, so it's easy and get the advice from them. Whoop de whoop boo wop the bam. Anyway, fast forward, Martell throw a little shade at Destiny talking about the same thing. It's, I mean, 15 years, but there's people didn't even last 15 minutes, and they, it was something to that effect about basically insinuating. I don't know if it was about him and Melody, or was it ricochet shade towards Destiny? But either way, Destiny draw attention to it. Martell, apologetic, like, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Cool, back cool in the game. Um, they renew their vows. Whoop the whoop. Now, Martell is gaslighting the shit out of Tisha. Sitting here talking about the vow renewals. Now, when Tiffany and what's the name renewed their vows, I think that's gonna be my second name for him. What's the name? Well, Tiffany and her husband renewed their vows or whatever. After that, they Marceau get to trying to take control, like he put this whole thing together to begin with, and deflecting from the point that he left her hanging. And not only did he not renew vows, he wouldn't publicly address his love for her. And his deflection in the confessional, because it's a deflection. Because to me, if you're not speaking to the precision, excuse me, to the point of the issue, you just talking. You just talking to hurry up and say something so they hope hurry up and get over the moment. But yeah, I'm not feeling Marcel, and I feel like if he's doing this for a storyline, and if Tisha is putting up with it for insecurity, girl, you got two masters off GP. You've been on this show. You can get something. You can do it for yourself. Envision yourself being the captain of your own destiny. No pun intended. That's what I wanted to say. I noticed that every time he speaks about his marriage, he always equates it to finances. And then that begs the I think they really do need to go to counseling. Not that they probably got some insane problem, but the way he communicates lends to what he values most. And what she's saying, her values aren't that. I value your time. And you're saying, listen, I wouldn't take advice from this person. I wouldn't talk this, do a mortgage on the spur. Nobody's asking you to do those things on the spur of the moment. We're talking about what already is. Unless you want to say, low key, now I didn't talk myself into thinking something about this. Marceau probably don't want to do a vow renewal off GP or some. They probably got a prenup. And a vow renewal probably would obstruct a prenup, because I don't see no other way this is such a big deal. If you vow forever for her and you really care and love her, because I saw the affection earlier. Maybe that's a game. Maybe you're a narcissist. But however, I notice you equate things to money and finances, and would you take advice from this person if it concerns finances? Would I re up a mortgage? And no, you wouldn't, because that ain't this. But yeah, I see you gaslighting the shit out of. So Marceau is making this point that, okay, so Melody said something to Destiny about, this girl, your wife put this together, and the least you can do is tell, you don't even want to do the least, and that's stand up and tell her you love her. And then eavesdropping as Tiffany husband go, he messy, but he messy in a way that he know how to hide his shit. But anyway, he go, I think Melody has a good idea, and I think Melody thought she was gonna get called out, but and she technically did, but he reframed it and said, yeah, I think Marceau should, this is a time for Marceau to say how much he loves his wife. And Marceau doesn't. I don't know if he eventually will, but to this point, he doesn't. And Melody is like, right, I think you should. Wouldn't you like that? I think you would like that. Anyway, Marceau then gets in a confessional, or the subsequent scene is him in a confessional, and he's speaking about how the person who's been in a marriage for 15 minutes versus a person who just got divorced is giving him advice. No, sir, we are human. I don't care if it's like male OBGYNs. He could never experience anything that is going on physically and physiologically as a woman, as a male, right? But he still is an expert enough to be of some assistance based upon knowledge, information, evidence, and experience, etc. So I say that to say that doesn't diminish a person because they don't mirror or best you in some area of your life. You can offer up an observation. Girl, you looking crazy out here. Your man won't say at the very least I love you is bad enough. He cracked your face and then take you up there to renew a vow on your 15th year anniversary. It seems like he got something that seems something suspicious, which adds to what she was saying in that bed earlier. Girl, you got me out here feeling insecure because you are compounding it. That's one of the moments where people on the periphery are seeing something and saying something, and you're trying to equate it to financial. Nigga, no, we see that you didn't step up. But let's get to it. I noticed something I missed earlier. Martell said something about uh it's obvious that Tisha really cares about the relationship, and if Marceau would have cared equally as much, they would have a great relationship, right? Then, and what jogged my memory, first off, I co-sign that sentiment, and then second of all, what jogs my memory about it is this part right here, where Tisha, her default is to say, I'm not gonna make Marcel do nothing he don't want to do. I mean, that's a given though. You're both adults. It's nothing you can make a person do. But that default can answer that you always have in your back pocket is not really the case. He's not going to do what he don't want to do. You put him in a position where you was trying to induce him to do something he didn't want to do, and that was renew his vows in that moment, and he didn't do it. So it's not that you have any influence on what this man do. It's just it allows you to feel like you have some participation in him cracking your face every time. But let's get back to it. So Melody is going in like I just went in, and this is I. So Melody, I don't know all what she said, but just off the first two sentences, is exactly what I had said there. It's like, no, but I'm observing you. You're cracking this girl's face. Yes, she is allowing you to be abscond from the accountability of putting her in situations to be embarrassed, right? But at the end of the day, we all see it. She might be saying, I'm not gonna make Marcel do nothing. He don't want to do. But you can't make him do nothing. And it is, and not even that you can't make him do, like it's an enforcement, even by your short suggestions and your value of what you're trying to do. You allow him to devalue what you're trying to do by saying, "Nah, I just want to make it something fun." No, that you wanted it to be serious, but you amended it so it could be more palatable for him. And for all your amendabilities, if I may, and your compromises, he is not compromising at all. You ask him to be around his family. The most he can do is tell you, "I want to be there, but I got a plan." And nigga, what's your plan? And when does it run out? And when is the expiration date? And what does it look like? And why can't you be involved in budget time for me? Like you must be budgeting time for a bar. Unless you're going down to that bar for networking and for another coin. And I don't know if that is the case. My point is, Melody, I'm with Melody in this scene. I don't go up for the girl, but I go up for her right now because that is exactly what I mean. Girl, we see it. And I don't know if this the editing, and it just so happened that Melody got the producer note that we both see what we seeing. But girl, love yourself. He is getting away with not being, I don't know. Get with Melissa Fredericks. Watch the Love Hour, girl. Because she was talking about when she was changing in herself. I don't want to tell nobody else's testimony, but I am going to say what she was saying. Basically, she was realizing that things that she allowed her husband to get away with was not conducive with the person she was now. So back then she would just let everything he do slide. But then it got to a point where she was coming into the realizing the fullness of herself, you know, the wholeness of her being. And she basically was saying that don't work for me no more. And she allowed him in on the that don't work for me. No, sir. And he either acquiesced or they bumped heads or whatever. But there was a stalemate to show a standard, right? Tisha looks like she has no standards for herself in this relationship. And for him to point, which makes me go, Marceau ain't dumb. So that last, this gonna be a long one. So that last one, that last episode when he was going off about she looks like she's not confident, whoop wop bam and all of that, you know she ain't confident. And you know how you making her not confident in an effort to make her malleable to your whims and not lift up a standard against you. And that's biblical. Shout out to the Christians if y'all listening. I have all religious tolerance, but to my greater point, girl, when Destiny said in her confessional, like, and I don't know if that was a preview or they already showed it because I'm just running my mouth, but I'm sad for her. This isn't entertaining. It hurts. It's like when Ashley went off on Katie. This isn't entertaining. It's cruel. But let's get back to it. The irony. Melody is A1 preaching. Amen. Say that. Preach, preacher. She was preaching on that note because that is exactly what I said. Basically, not exactly. She brought up the element. You didn't let your wife plan this thing, and you let a whole nother couple come up here and take over. And the least you could have done was show or appreciate your wife, but the bare minimum you do is beyond beneath bare minimum and giving her some half-ass kiss, and she's always gonna cape for your ass to her cracked ass face. And it's like, girl, you are not following the order and the directions of nature. Self-preservation is the law of the land. Protect thine self at all times. That's what nature told us. And you is letting this man abscond with your coding, with your natural coding to protect yourself, and here you are throwing yourself on his grenades of making you look a fool. Melody was right, and girl, you preach that word. You know what make it hard for me not to be mad at Melody for overstepping right there? Because there's a bit of overstepping she is doing, especially as a now single woman or a divorced woman. But what makes it not us me not mad at it is the fact that Tisha is so immature or so unsure. Maybe not immature, just unsure of her. That her default is he is her compass. So I'm not mad at Melody taking her to the side to talk, but I did peep Tiffany and Destiny walking and talking too. That Tisha go minimizing her efforts just to placate this whole scenario of her husband not having empathy or grace for her. The very least she could have said, "I love my wife. She know my kids' allergies. Bless her heart." Girl, you playing yourself. We didn't. She said, "Thank God we had the conversation ahead of time, so I knew that he didn't want to do it, so we weren't gonna go through with it. So thank God we had a conversation, because that would have been embarrassing." Lies, ho. It still was embarrassing. Bless your heart that you think that was a way to skew the perception, but no, beloved, you still carried on with your plans, and he had no give for you. He had no love to express for you. And you are essentially, girl, I refuse. Tell us your school. What is that you went to go get another master's from? Because I'm thinking about going back to college too, and maybe their course load is not as rigorous. If you are an alumni around there, girl, I mean, and I don't mean no harm. I mean this with all due respect as a consumer of this project. This woman is coming across as diminishing herself. She is not putting the oxygen mask on her face while the plane is crashing. She is opting to put the mask on him and then give her mask to him. For why? What is the value in that? Because you both look the fools. In my best Starlight expression, y'all both look the fools around there. And it's because you keep throwing yourself in front of him, and y'all both look like shrapnel is in all of y'all. And it's not necessary. You could really boss up, and if you don't, like Melody said, you can say something to him. You really don't have a word for me? Like, am I your burden? Do you not have a... And maybe I'm out of bounds for thinking that too, because I'm with Melody. The least you could have did, she diminished her plans and the meaning of what she had for it initially, just to get him on board. He could stay on board, and she makes it lighthearted, and he still diminishes it by not stepping up and following through. Then he is asked, called to the carpet by his peers. Girl, we seen her hurt. We are asking now, messy as it may be, it's a TV show, but to the extent in which we were all seeing it, it still goes to show maybe that should have been a more apt way to do that. But she publicly cracked her face, so we publicly trying to help you out. Girl, bless your heart. He said it before I could even pause and say it. But Marceau, I'm sure the production is paying the tab, but it is being narrated like Marceau, the Scots are paying the tab for this Gordon Ramsay reservation. And I was thinking, wasn't he just complaining about being financially responsible to an extent that he has to be away from his family, but you can spend it up and budget some time for The homies, bless your heart. Maybe because you get a check from this. Maybe everything is monetary. Melody is hurt, and I just seen it for the first time. Like, legit see it. Maybe it's the liquor, but I see it. MVP of this episode so far for me, it's really been Melody. Melody has been on point and logical, and I don't know if it's just me today or it's just Melody is really, because I'm saying it, and then the very next scene she'll say something similar to it, or she'll say something that make you go, right? But to her point right here, Martell is talking shit. Martell is ain't shit in his flavor of his ain't shittery, but he is basically talking about, oh, we gonna celebrate Holtz, because Melody was like, we won't celebrate Holtz again, and Martell is basically like, Holt is my name, it goes with me. So, so basically, I want to get married. I was good in my marriage, and Melody is in the confessional like, who is you trying to convince? Yourself, us, or who? Melody says she anticipates him moving on with his life in the confessional. I'm rewinding this scene, but blame it on the alcohol. Come through with the alcohol Melody. Y'all gonna have to get her liquored up annually or biannually, so she can stop being a producer. Cause without liquor, she is very rehearsed. Wendy Osefa, sorority. I'm refined. I'm running for office. I have to put on airs and manage. But with the liquor, she basically being plain spoken. Maybe this vacation Melody. I see it now. One of the other reviewers, I think it was Jamie That's Me, or was it Bondi Blue? On one of them reviews, she said, like, they really hurt. And I legit see it now because it's the liquor talking now. And maybe they all playing it up, but I don't think so. I think Melody is legit hurt, and it's like, how dare you have her be convivial in this moment and look to your future while you and say all of these grand things about how great you were in a marriage, but it is essentially you who was the poison to the marriage. Maybe it's things that preempted that, but if I were the poison, you should have removed yourself from the marriage before you could remove any options. You know what I mean? You removed all options by making a whole nother family on her. You removed all options by continually cheating on her. And to say you was this grandiose husband, I would imagine that is like a jab to a bitch. You gotta sit here with you, got a whole fucking family on the side, like a whole nother tribe. You split nations around here on the side with me, and I don't appreciate you talking like you was good as they come, cause you don't have no hope for humanity, or at least your gender to even perceive that you thought you were a good husband while budgeting, and I've said this before, while budgeting your time for a person that wasn't in on the promise or the vow. How could you budget and make consistent budget of time, energy, resources to someone outside of your clan? Be it if your clan is dysfunctional, you find solutions, or you divorce yourself from the clan with a declaration before you go do that fool la la. But no, you found a way to budget time, energy, resources that could have been invested into your clan, your enterprises, hell, a hobby, Martell. I said it like I said it like I said it. But no, you keep poking by saying you was a good husband. And you very much were not. You were reckless. You put her in danger. We know you put her in danger because you have a baby on her. You have made a whole nother nation on her. How dare you say you a good husband? You have a weird perception of what a good husband is. That's like saying, well, John Wayne Gacy was a good person despite all of, you know, his crimes. No, that's not how that works. The whole is the report card. You failed on the finals, nigga. I can see why now I'm being empathetic to Melody because she is making so much sense in this. I have empathy for her, and maybe it's edited for me to have an empathy, but I do see why. Dude, shut the fuck up. You was not a good husband. Your optimism is appreciated, but your dwelling on what could be and was based on your actions could never be. Shut the fuck up and talk about a new thing. Maurice, stop projecting. Take your cape off and make like Kimmy and be an observer. Bless your heart. I'm noticing Martell got, I mean, not Martell, Marceau got more cape for Melody than he had for his wife down at the chapel. This Negro, let me pause. This Negro, he would be blue balls for the rest of forever. Like, nigga, I can go celibate. I can fast. You know, I can lean on God. Not for my dignity will I have your ass show me looking crazy down to the chapel where I'm trying to amend our love. I'm trying to bind us. I'm trying to evolve us, and you won't give me the bare minimum. But you down here caping for this woman who that man over there hurt. Girl, Tisha, you better than me. Marceau Petty. But I don't know if he's now that make me rethink him sticking up for Melody. Did he stick up for Melody so he can disarm Tiffany's bodyguard? But anyway, essentially, Marceau talked that shit. He was a good husband. They down to the. Let me go back to the beginning. They down to the restaurant. They eat and they around the table. It comes up about the Holtz. I said that about the Holtz. Then Martell saying that I'm gonna get married. I like marriage. I'm gonna be. I was a good husband. Whoop de whoop. And then Melody drunk and she in her feelings, and so she slick saying shit under her breath. Pardon me. Basically saying in so many words, this nigga keep trying to diminish me to make me scared that I won't find nothing or nobody better. Cause I don't know. I guess the chaos they bring you, they feel like should equate to being better than the peace you can have by yourself. Like it's something deficient to be alone than unhappy, right? Like to be unhappy trumps being alone in their perspective, and maybe that is a real thing. I don't know, but it just don't add up to logic to me. But essentially, Melody was saying Martell was, giving her the act like, girl, you gonna be alone. Ain't nobody gonna want you. That's probably why he was trying to give her all them kids, asking for 5 kids in the 21st century. Bless his heart. I know we all live in the South, but y'all not agrarian, are y'all? But anyway, so he asked her, no, he don't ask her anything. She's talking, but now Marceau is chiming in. Damn, all these Mars. Get the fuck to Earth. Anyway, so Marceau chimes in and he goes, he was comparing himself to other men and whoop de woo, and then Melody is co-signing because she in her feelings, and he kind of like stirring the pot, taking up for her even. Then fast forward, Marceau brings up the fact that we should keep the pillow talk to a minimum. Now this is stupid. You can't tell me how and what I should say in my confines of my own home with my spouse. But it's basically him saying, I don't need for the homie talk to get back to the wives, and y'all taking the sanctity of the homie talk out of context, and you bringing trouble to my doorstep. But you the one talking, nigga, and all that shit you said to them, you could and should have said to her. But that was that. This episode, I'm starting to realize how irrelevant Destiny is, because even though she gave me, a dynamic of some entertainment in that scene with her and Melody, since then she's been very, I didn't even know she was there. She had little side comments, ad libs, but nothing to make me go, oh, I am interested in this person because she's offering. No, no, girl. This conversation that Tiffany's husband is having confirms what I said last week, and that is he was trying to be messy, but he knew how to maneuver it. Bye. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Tiffany husband and Tiffany are, I guess, experts in marriage, and they low key making Marceau validate Marceau's sentiment, because they getting on my freaking nerves, because it's like, girl, y'all been married good. I don't care if y'all marriage is the most perfectest, thickest, whatever words you can make up to say how pristine your marriage is, how optimum and perfected it is. Even if it's all of that, who asked you? Dost thou protest too much? Shut the fuck up. Don't nobody care what you think. Now, I do understand the way you maneuvered that conversation. Basically, that Tiffany's husband was basically saying his deflection was, it shouldn't have never been in my hands to the point where your wife didn't have it. Which basically was what what happened with Maurice. It was almost ripe to use again. It was the same play. Maurice ass should have told Kimmy before Tiffany could ever tell her. But the way they played it, she never got in a position where she could say that. Now he, as a man, downloads the information to his wife. Boomerang. It comes. Everybody know directly where it's coming from because we followed the breadcrumbs. You come back talking about I shouldn't have had nothing that your wife didn't have. So I shouldn't have been able to surprise her. Touche, nigga. And it was a read and it was a dig, but it also was an expose in the fact that he was on bullshit by telling Tiffany. They both messy. That's they Melody and Martell, because not Destiny. Tiffany lights up when she's on the crust of mess. I'm at the cusp. Melody brings up mental health, and Tiffany husband Dick Rat's the point, and goes with the usual talking points. We damn near 3, 4, 5 years deep in talking about mental health in the black community. It is rammed down our throats. I know multiple people in therapy of all ages, classes, creeds in therapy, getting some good old talking it out sessions. So this paradigm with black folks, I ain't talking about mental health. They might not be talking daily about it. It might not be a forethought message, but it isn't a message of witchcraft. It's almost like they paint us as primitive. Like if you show us fire, oh, it's magic. No, nigga. Like, get the fuck out of here. We into this now. Charlamagne done made 2 books talking about mental health. It's his shtick now. Get out of here. The community get it. And if your community ain't got it, you need to hang around them people and tell them more about it. That is a point of accountability. So, Marceau piggybacks on the topic of depression and how important is depression, and I guess the household is the question. I forget. I'm clicked out. I should be more in tune. I'm sorry for not being more present with this point because I'm tuning out. I'm bored at this point. But Marcel is saying he's been depressed for the past year. Now, if he, it's hard to tell with this nigga. If I'm risking being an asshole because I'm making an assumption. Because it's hard to tell with this nigga if he just talking for the sake of appeasing the moment and get maneuvering out of the way, or is he legit with the shits? Like, is this a sincere moment for him? So him saying he's depressed, again, news to your wife. It looked like. Secondly, I can tell, nigga, the way you taking it out on your wife, you want her to be miserable too, cause misery love company, and your focus and your vision is set on things that you can't find readily. It's all outside of you. So you dependent on it to be available, but you are available to you. But you're depressed and you knocking towers down just to give you a smile in the moment, I guess. Give you a quick giggle in the moment. Embarrass her just so you can feel power play in the moment. Maybe Destiny was right. I could tell your ass depressed. Because you hurt people, hurt people. So they basically saying to Mars told, like, you gotta choose happiness. And that is so fucking true. Essentially, this is what they saying. Like, you, depression, because I think we all, especially if you are American, and the way the seasons is fucking with us, girl, I don't think it's a coincidence. Global warming, the way the seasons are acting up, and then everybody having these seasonal depressional moments, and then also coupled with that, the standard is always outside of oneself instead of the litmus being internal, and then it's always some superficial uh reality or superficial labeling that's placed on you that herds you into a thought. And so you're chasing something always without settling into yourself. Cause, and I say this from a point of experience. It is a journey. When you get depressed, it is a journey to happiness. Happiness is a choice. Okay? Happiness is most definitely a choice. Ain't no two ways about it. When you wake up in the morning and you choose to get out of bed, it happiness is settling on the thoughts that brings you the joy, or settling on the thoughts that bring you security, and settling on the thoughts that do not undermine your existence and your being. Happiness is a frequency, it's an action, it's a verb, and it's like love. We take love and happiness as adjectives and nouns, like things and descriptions, when in actuality, happy is a thing. You gotta choose that thing, and in choosing that thing, it starts with your posture. I remember watching Girlfriends, and Tony intruded on somebody else's therapy. That's how I know y'all fool la la about the therapy shit. We was watching Joan down to the therapist all the time. But anyway, Tony was down to the therapist, and she was infringing on somebody else's therapy, and the woman was all hunched over, and she go, I could tell you what your problem is now. Girl, sit up straight and get some posture about yourself, because your posture scream, I don't like myself, so why should you? Something to that effect. And that, even though it was not said, it was said crassly, it still is truth. It still is the exact truth. Posh, the way you carry your robot around. If you carry your robot like it's too heavy for you, right? If you carry your robot like like you don't care about it, it goes to it aids with happy. The things you ingest, not just the food, but the people you listen to, the people you allow in your cipher and allow to have a voice in the stage of your mind as to your happy, who you choose to focus, dial your antenna into when it comes to the radio of your thoughts. This all are attributes of actions towards the choice of happy daily. When you come into consciousness, you have to be aware. And when I'm saying come into consciousness, come into the realization of you are just an expression of energy in whatever specific form you got to dance your dance of energy now. Some of us get to be whoever we get to be. Sometimes you get to be a tree. Sometimes you get to be a rabbit. Sometimes you get to be a blade of grass. Sometimes you get to be me. Thank God. But I say that to say, in this experience, you have to be aware of how you help yourself to be happy. And to their point, I said a lot, and I knew this was gonna be hella long because this was good, and it's inducing a lot of thoughts in me, and I appreciate that. But I think Marceau is scared. Ultimately, they're having this conversation and talking about depression and how that assists in the dynamics of a family and how you arrive and show up in various spaces, and how after Tiffany husband say you gotta wanna, essentially he says you gotta wanna be happy, you gotta like act towards happy, and then Kimmy says, listen, you gotta make you gotta find it important to want to be happy. Now that's a new layer to it. I gave you the attributes of it. Now I gave you the actions of it. Now, I know how to get in shape, but on some days, it's not that important to me. That ice cream bar is more valuable to me than getting my ass up and getting in shape. You know what I'm saying? That's essentially what Kimmy is saying. It's like, is it important enough to choose it? Because you know it's there to be chosen. I say this all the time because it would jars me back to kind of, it's my, you know how the doctors come in and put that electricity on your chest and try to clear, and they go clear. It's my joke. It's my, damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, it's that for me. But this is the perspective of whenever I get depressed, I always remind myself it is so easy to be down. It is always harder to climb. The air is always thin up there. You know what I'm saying? Like I always, like it hurt, and no matter how bad it hurt, falling is easy. To fall, it might be hard on the ego, it might hurt the body, but the actual act of letting to be in suspension and descending, the to fall is the actual falling. That's easy. To be down is easy. What's hard is to get up. Going upstairs is harder than going downstairs all the time. It's the flow of energy to pick. It's like losing weight. To pick this shit up and to actually put it in motion. That's what happiness is. And it's to decide that it's important today is what the scheme of it all is. Because we all get it. I don't think nobody don't become depressed. I done seen the strongest of them all who didn't face giants, who and made the giants fall, and they get depressed. So it's not an act of failure to feel down or even fall down. But like the culture I was raised up into, what Donnie McClurkin sang, we fall down but we get up, G. A saint ain't a sinner. A saint is just a sinner who fell down and got up. If we translate that to a secular perspective, if you fall down, you can stand back up. It's no failing in falling. That's human. There's no failing and staying down a little bit because you're hurt. The shock is with you, but the triumph of it all is to stand back up. The mere standing back up is triumph. To get back up and climb towards what you was initially climbing towards, girl, you great. You're great. But that's essentially what they're telling Marceau, and it looks like Marceau is legit intrigued by it. But I found that profound. I did find this level, and this is entertainment. I like this entertainment. Excuse me for being a person who likes that energy, but I like when people, I see the failings in you, and I legit have a real advice for you. I don't mean you no harm, but girl, happiness is a tangible thing that you gotta actually reach for, and you gotta want to reach for it and find it important enough to reach for it. That's like washing your ass. It's a daily thing. Oh, I'm rambling. I'm so sorry, y'all. But shout out to James Caldwell. Marceau is saying something. I gotta stop it right here. That's it. So Marceau is saying basically he is tired. He is working so hard. He don't know what happy it is. It's easy to not to keep it mellow and not get your hopes up so high. So what it sounds like is he is not in. He does not trust his wife to bear the burdens with him, or he does trust her and she still is falling short of helping in that regard. It just seems like, or he don't trust that she has the capacity for that, or they don't. I don't know. It just seems like he is positioning everything outside of himself but being mad, or it feels like he's resenting his family, but he's putting up with them because it's like it's his accomplishment. And then he said what he said about being, because he don't get his hopes up high, he just keeps it even. We can tell, Marceau, how you treat Jalen down to the black. We can tell you phoning it in, because you phoning it all in. You not present with yourself. Because you not present with yourself, you hold everything else more accountable than yourself. Nigga, I see your hurt, but that don't mean you get to hurt. You don't get to diminish that woman because she ain't feeling what you feeling, and you resenting her for not feeling that. So now you want to drop her shoulders because yours dropped based on some choices you made. You can redefine the vision. You can set down your teammate if you value her as your teammate and not your property. But and tell her, listen, homie, we ran this play. It didn't go where I thought it was gonna go, and I think we should aim for this season. But next season we might aim for the championship. But this season, let's aim for a lottery pick. But what have you? It don't sound like you have that trust or faith in your wife that you are capable to give her that, or she's capable to bear some of this burden you feel like you have, and you want sympathy. But it's hard to give you sympathy when you're an asshole, Marceau. And that woman ain't showing you she did nothing to you but be insecure and deflect all the shit coming your way, socially at least. It's weird how you